What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After Season 8, Episode 1, Once Upon a Rocky Relationship. Y'all, it seems like 90 Day Fiance, they do not want to give us any kind of break to recuperate from the previous season or the previous spin-off or franchise or whatever you want to call it. Because we are like, I swear to God, I have been reviewing 90 Day Fiance in some form or fashion for the past, ever since I started my YouTube channel. It's like consistently nonstop 90 Day Fiance, season after season after season. I'm like, can we please get a breather? Can we please get a tiny break from these people? And what makes it even worse is that not only is it continuously some form of 90 Day Fiance coming on, but it's the same people who are leaving one franchise and then they merge into the next franchise. Like Jasmine and Gino, they're a 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days, 90 Day Fiance. Now they're 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. And it's like with each new season, it's them consistently showing up. And I'm just sick and tired of it. I'm so tired of it. I need a break from 90 Day Fiance. It's okay if we have like, not even like a long break, but please give us like a week or two off from anything related to 90 Day Fiance. So let's get into it. I want to start with Emily and Kobe. First of all, right off the bat, I want to say, just in case my review sounds a little bit biased against Emily, I'm just going to be upfront with it. I don't care for Emily. When they were on 90 Day Fiance, whatever franchise it was it before the 90 days? I have no idea. When they were on that and Kobe had first arrived in Salina, Kansas, I did not appreciate how Emily and her parents were treating Kobe. They were practically treating him like he was a houseboy or a servant. The way that they were barking, especially Emily, not so much her parents, but especially Emily, the way that she was barking orders at him, the way that she expected him to do everything. And he is a grown man. He has the ability to say, hell no, I'm not going to do that. But he wants to keep the peace. He doesn't want to, go tit for tat with Emily in her parents' house, with her parents being there. So I understand that he was trying to somewhat respect some boundaries in that home because, they are taking care of him. He wasn't able to work at the time. He didn't want to rock the boat too damn much. But I just did not appreciate how she would talk to him. Specifically, that one scene when they were at in the horse barn, I think it was, because Emily and her family, they live on basically a farm, a lot of land, a lot of animals, and so they were in the horse barn, and she was basically barking out orders for him to scoop up the manure, I think, and she was just literally just like shouting out demands. Like this wasn't even her companion, her soon-to-be husband, the father of her son, literally treating him like he was hired help. And Kobe is so like passive and very respectable and quiet and very reserved. But when she was barking out those orders in the horse barn, she had crossed the line and he had had enough. And when he was like, you need to watch how you talk to me, I think she went crying back to her mom saying that Kobe was being mean to her or something. Y'all, it was a whole mess. It was just a mess. So when they got married, I really wasn't happy for them because I felt like Kobe deserved something a little bit better than Emily. She's extremely immature. She's very spoiled by her parents. It's very obvious. She's not one of my favorite people. Let me just stop right there before it gets too personal. So Kobe and Emily, of course, it starts off with the scene with them in some type of so it always leads off with sex when it comes to Emily. I don't know why the producers do this, because even on 90 Day Diaries, that was like their main storyline is Emily getting enough? Why isn't Kobe giving her more? She's a sex-starved wife that wants more and more and more and more. And that's not interesting to me because I think it's very weak story element or very weak plot for any type of reality TV show or any type of story, period. It's just very weak because, number one, the fact that they're still together and have been together for a while, It's like, these people don't have those kind of issues. It's like there's nothing going on with them. For whatever reason, they still want us to watch them, even though there's really not much going on with them. And so it's like, hey, let's do this sex storyline where Emily, is a sex-starved housewife and her husband is too tired from working all day to give her any. And I'm just like, that's just not interesting because it's fake. Number one, and who cares what they do in their bedroom? Who cares if they're getting too much or not enough? Why is this a storyline? Why would this be interesting to anybody other than Emily and Kobe? But anywho, here we are. So she's laying in the bed. She's got on some lingerie and she's rubbing some rose up and down her thigh. Kobe comes home from work. He's exhausted. He's tired, but of course, she's starving for it. And so she's waiting for her man to come home. And supposedly right when they were about to get it started, her mom yells from the kitchen that dinner's ready. So they hurry up and act like, they got to put their clothes back on or whatever, rush down to the dining room table, and they sit down for dinner with her parents and their 2 children. Now, when 90 Day Diaries ended, when it ended, I guess, Emily was supposedly pregnant, I think, with her 3rd child. I don't know. Wait, no, I found that out on the internet. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be coming up at some point this season that, she's expecting the 3rd child. But I think on their Instagram is where I saw. Yes, it wasn't on 90 Day Diaries. It was on her Instagram because I was Googling something about them and it popped up that she was expecting their 3rd child together. So nobody's sex starved. Okay, we know that they're doing it. They're doing it enough for them to be having all these children. So their sex life is very healthy and non-problematic. So they're sitting at dinner with her parents. And yes, they still live with her parents. I don't understand why. Maybe if Emily had a full-time job, they could have a place of their own. I don't know why they're living with her parents. I guess they like it. But they do complain about the lack of privacy and freedom. She talks about how, Kobe can't run around. I don't know if it was him or her. One of them mentions how Kobe can't run around naked. Once again, everything has to be related to sex. I don't know if it's because, she's, like a plus-size girl and they got to prove to us all the time that, hey, even though she's a little bit, plump, she's getting it, or her. I don't understand why when it comes to Emily and Kobe, we have to hear about this. I just don't understand. I don't get it. So like if they're complaining about privacy and the lack of freedom in her parents' house, there's a really easy solution to that. Just move out and get your own place. So we have to see the history of their relationship. How they met in China. He was an underwear model. I think she was a teacher or something. I don't know. Don't really care. And they met in China. It was supposed to be like a really quick one-night stand. She ended up getting pregnant. He ended up proposing to her. When she came back to America, she had their baby. And then she had to wait for all the immigration stuff and the visa stuff to go through before he could finally come to America and meet his son for the very first time. Now, let's not forget that when he first arrived in America, I don't know how real this is, but when we were watching 90 Day Fiance before the 90 Days or whatever franchise they were on, when we were watching them, or was it the regular 90 Day? I don't know. He came to America. He had first arrived in America, and the only thing this man wanted to see was his son, who he had not seen at all since the child was born. That's the only thing he wanted to see. He could not wait to see his son. This woman, Emily, without telling him, decided to delay him meeting his son because she had to get some, because she was starving for it. So she took him to a hotel for them to spend the night at a hotel instead of him seeing his son right away. And I thought that was really sneaky and really shallow and selfish of her to do that, because the most important thing at that moment when this man arrived in America was for him to see his child. So I just thought that was really dirty of her to do. She had to satisfy her own needs, her own selfish needs, before father and son could finally meet. I thought that was really tacky, disgusting, and it just adds to the long list of reasons why I don't care for this woman. So Kobe realizes, he tells us that he realized that Emily was the one for him when she ended up getting pregnant by him. Okay, if that's what makes somebody the one for you, Kobe, your expectations in a relationship and in a woman are very low. When Kobe arrived in the U.S., he said that it was very easy for him to slide into the father role, but not so easy for him to slide into the husband role. And I totally believe that, because how can it be easy to slide into the husband role for someone like Emily? So The whole family, Emily, Kobe, the kids, and her parents are going to be taking a trip to Cameroon to finally meet Kobe's side of the family and for the children to be able to meet their father's side of the family. Emily is stressed the hell out about this trip because she doesn't know if his family is going to accept her or even like her. So she's extremely worried about that. And I'm thinking you would only be worried about that when you know how bad your personality is. Okay, why would you be worried about that? Because this girl is stressed out. And Kobe also is stressed out about whether or not his family is going to accept Emily. And his number one reason is that Emily is very headstrong. She's very bossy, demanding. And in his culture, women take a more passive role in the relationship. So the fact that she's not that at all, not a single ounce of her is passive or submissive or subservient, he's worried. And he wants her to tone down her Americanism. Like he literally says that. I want you to tone down your Americanism. I don't want you to be so much of who you are. Be less Emily. Emily tells everybody at the dinner table, Kobe and her parents, she tells them that they need to bring down their stress level. Emily, you're the most stress-inducing person, one of the most stress-inducing person I've ever met. You create so much stress for everybody. She stresses out her parents because she's out there. In other words, they don't like the people that she dates, I guess, except for Kobe. She ends up getting pregnant on a one-night stand. She ends up getting pregnant again in her parents' home after they told her, do not have any more children because y'all are living here with us. Neither one of you work. Don't have any more children because her parents are up there in years. And her father has to constantly keep working and take care of this whole entire family because she won't stop being a child. So he has to take care of grown Emily, her children, took care of Kobe until he was able to get a job for himself, still taking care of Kobe because they're still living in his house. So her father was like, don't bring any more damn kids in this house. That's exactly what she did and what she's about to do again. So she's telling everybody else to bring their stress level down. They can't. Nobody can bring their stress level down being around you, Emily. Kobe tells her to dial down her Americanism, as I mentioned before, and he's worried again about how her strong personality might turn his family off. I think Emily's smart enough to know how to win over his family, so I'm not that worried about how Emily's going to act in front of his family. Emily is not Angela from Hazelhurst, Georgia. She is not Angela. Emily, I think, has enough sense to know how to act in front of, his family, in front of people that she's trying to impress. I'm pretty sure that's how she got her claws into Kobe. So she knows how to act. She knows how to behave. I'm not really worried about that. So the trip is going to be a 25-hour trip. They're going to go from from Salina to Kansas City to Detroit to Paris and then to Cameroon. So it's a very long trip with two very small children. God bless them. So he says that another reason why he's so worried about how his family is going to react to Emily is because he is the first person ever in his family to marry a foreigner, to leave Cameroon. So, he has a lot on his plate, I guess. And, and he's just really concerned about how his family's going to take everything. Emily's going to be fine. Her parents are going to be fine. I think the families are going to blend together really well. I don't see any real issue because Kobe seems like he comes from, a good background. Like he has some very solid, strong people in his corner back there in Cameroon. I think his parents did a good job in raising him. So I'm not that worried about how these two families are going to blend together. I think everybody's going to be just fine. Moving on to Gino and Jasmine. We just got done watching Gino and Jasmine on 90 Day Fiance, and now we have to endure, I don't know how many weeks or months of more Gino and Jasmine. I think the biggest issue that everybody has with them is that they're not genuine. Whatever they're doing is all for the cameras. It's not real. It's not genuine. I don't even think they like each other. I think they understand that they're more like business partners than husband and wife. And it's really beneficial for them to stay together, to continue to collect these checks from TLC. So we see right through them. I don't know if they like each other. They don't come off as genuine at all. Y'all, didn't this scene start off with her sucking on his toes? And that's another thing. They are really all about the gross out factor. they are hell bent in grossing out the audience. I don't know if they think that they're coming across as seductive and sensual to us, but it's not that. It's disgusting. I don't want to hear about what goes on between Gino and Jasmine in the privacy of their bedroom or wherever the hell they're at. I don't want to see her sucking nobody's toes. I don't want to see any of this stuff. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. I don't know why people think that this isn't. Because literally, when they were showing that scene of her sucking on his toe, y'all, my eyes were closed. I didn't want to see it. But I guess there's enough people out there that are really into Gino and Jasmine because they constantly keep bringing them back. They must have a very, 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 very big and strong fan base. So supposedly these two people are trying to have a baby. Okay, that's one issue. So let's put that to the side because I'm gonna come back to that later. Let's put that to the side. When we see them, they are on a boat. Just the two of them on a boat. I guess somewhere in one of the lakes over there by Michigan. Or I don't even know where he's living. Is it somewhere in the Midwest? They're on a lake. They're on a boat, and she has on the tiniest, the skimpiest American flag bikini. I don't want to. I'm in no look, y'all. Her natural body to me was a-okay. It was fine. Not understanding, okay, you want a little bit of enhancement? No issue with that. I get it. You want a little bit of enhancement, make things a little bigger, a little rounder, a little firmer? I got you. No issue. But I feel like Jasmine is going to the extreme end of body augmentation. Already, I feel like her bottom is too big. I feel like her boobs are too big. I feel like they are stretched. Her skin is stretched to the limit. I'm just like those breasts, because her top, the top of her bikini barely covered anything. Okay, there are just these two little tiny miniature little triangles that barely covered anything. And like I said, it was the American flag design. And I'm watching her, and she's, sitting on the boat, and she's, positioning her body in certain angles for us to get the full effect of what how her doctors have almost destroyed her body. She wants us to see it from every angle. She was stretching out her back and pushing her chest out and twisting and turning this way and that. And the saddest thing about it is that Gino encourages this. He likes it. I was shocked when I found out on 90 Day Fiance that he actually enjoys her doing this to her body. He likes this. I was shocked because I was like, what man who really loves their spouse would enjoy it? Now, it's one thing to tolerate it. It's another thing maybe to financially support it because you just want her to be happy. But for you to encourage it and to be like, yeah, do more. You look great. Make it bigger. Insane. I couldn't even concentrate on what the hell she was talking about because I was losing focus because her boobs were just insanely large for her body. And the thing is, she wants to make herself smaller and smaller and smaller. The tiniest waist, the tiniest legs and arms, the tiniest, flattest stomach ever. But she wants the biggest lips, the biggest boobs, and the biggest butt. We're teetering on comical. So they talk about having babies because Gino really wants to have his own child. And Jasmine is going to pretend like she's really into that. I seriously doubt that Jasmine wants to have any more children. I seriously doubt that. But they talk about having babies. And then she talks about how she has her own two boys back in Panama that she really misses and that she really wants them to come over to America. And on 90 Day Fiance, Gino appeared to be on board with that, like doing whatever he could do to bring her children here. Moving on from there. So it's their honeymoon, okay? It's their honeymoon. We saw their wedding on 90 Day Fiance. Now it's time for their honeymoon. The fact that they're going camping in Michigan is crazy to me because Gino knows what kind of wife he has. Now, unless Gino is really, truly broke, I think that the producers put them up to this because I think that they thought it would be funny for Jasmine to have to rough it out there in the wilderness, because they want to do this whole fish out of water thing with Jasmine. And I don't know if they think that, this is like the Lucy and Desi of 90 Day Fiance. I don't know what the hell's going on. But I thought it was just like, Gino, what kind of wife you have. She doesn't want to go camping for her honeymoon. Y'all just came from Miami. Like, why wouldn't you save that trip for the honeymoon? Okay, so they're doing this whole fish out of water thing. I guess, TLC thinks it's really funny. I didn't. So she's eating, they're making, I thought they were making s'mores, but all we saw was the marshmallow. We didn't see no graham cracker, not a graham cracker crumb, not a piece of chocolate, not a square of a chocolate. It was just marshmallows on a stick. So she's eating it and she ends up liking it, right? And I'm like, where's the rest? But anyways, maybe it wasn't s'mores. Maybe all they could afford was the marshmallows. I don't know, because I don't know. So while they were roasting marshmallows, Jasmine says that she wants a bigger house for these future children that they're going to be having. And Gino says, I can't afford it. Anything that Jasmine wants, Gino says he can't afford it. And so he says he's living off of his savings. Jasmine tells him to get a job. And because she wants to have these children. And so she thinks that if she convinces Gino that she really wants to have these babies, he's going to buy a bigger house before these children are even conceived. Gino tells her, we're going to have the babies first, then we're going to get a bigger house. And this is going against her plan. I think she's just trying to manipulate Gino into getting a bigger, grander, better home. I don't think Jasmine has any intentions of having any more children. Let's not forget in Panama, I don't know how many seasons back it was. Let's not forget in Panama, she was popping birth control pills like sweet tarts behind his back. He had no idea, because remember when he first, I don't know if this was like his very first trip to Panama, but in the early days of Jasmine and Gino, he had gone to see her in Panama. He was so excited because he thought that he was going to be able to get her pregnant before he came back to America. He even bought a pregnancy test with them on that particular trip. I don't know how much of this is true, or how much of it is concocted by the writers of 90 Day Fiance. I don't know. But he had brought a pregnancy test with them because he thought that he was going to be able to get her pregnant. And the whole entire time she was taking birth control behind his back. And I think she ended up confessing to him. So the whole idea of Jasmine wanting children with Gino, real children with Gino, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. I do not buy it. She shows that she's conniving and she's secretive and she's manipulative. I just don't believe that this woman, plus another thing, they're not even doing it enough for them to try to have a baby. Every single time she has to ask them, did you bring your blue pills? Did you bring your blue pills? These people are so far away from actually conceiving a child. It's not even funny. She's probably taking birth control. She really doesn't want any children. He can't do anything with her without assistance. They are so far away from it. If they really, really were serious about having kids, they would go through maybe IVF or something. So he's complaining to her that he doesn't mind buying a house, but it has to be after she gets pregnant. He doesn't want to do it before. Like I said, she's using this concept of children to manipulate him into buying a bigger home. That's my personal opinion. So then she talks about how she's had issues in the past of conceiving. Okay, so my question now is, Jasmine, if you had a problem conceiving children in the past, why are you taking birth control pills? Gino can't do anything without assistance. You're claiming that you were having problem conceiving naturally. Why were you taking birth control pills in Panama behind his back? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't even know if they need to hire like a continuity expert to make sure these plot lines are actually flowing together and fitting and making sense, because they're not making any sense to me. Are you ready to be traumatized? Let's talk about Mahmoud and Nicole. As if we did not suffer enough watching their first round of domestic violence, now TLC subjecting us to round 2. Mahmoud and Nicole met when she was traveling, I guess, in Egypt. And that's how they met, whatever. They got married in Egypt in a Muslim ceremony. She came back to America, and then she had decided, or they decided as a couple, that she was going to move back to Egypt and live with him. So we saw all of that play out on 90 Day Fiancé the other way. It didn't play out very well. They argued morning, noon, and night. They fought about the biggest things. They fought about the littlest things. They fought constantly. And their bickering was that annoying kind of bickering where it was just a constant barrage of them having either like one big fight stretched out all day or little tiny fights stopping and starting throughout the day. If you were living with Mahmoud and Nicole, all you would hear in the background is them constantly bickering. And they bicker in a respectful type of way, like in a polite kind of way. So their voices are very low. They're talking in these really low voices, but there's a lot of frustration in their tone. And they don't scream and yell and cuss each other out and call each other names. It's not that bad. Like, Angela and her victim, Michael. It's not that bad. But it's very annoying and it's not healthy and it's detrimental to the relationship. So their biggest issue is he wants her to be a very traditional Muslim wife. She expects him to take her as she is. Now, the issue is that I think there were times in their relationship where she had led him to believe that she was willing to be a traditional wife. Like she was willing to wear the traditional clothing of a Muslim wife and to cover herself up from head to toe. But then her individuality was just way too strong so that she couldn't stay that way. So she began to fight against it, and she expected him to accept her being just a normal, everyday American wife who wants to wear what she wants to wear, do what she wants to do, say what she wants to say. She doesn't want to be traditional. She doesn't want to live that life at all whatsoever. That was her biggest point of contention. And I remember his uncle telling him, even his brother, I think, would tell him, you need to find a way to convince her to be traditional, but find a way to do it in a respectful way. Like try to attract her to the traditional side of life with honey and not with vinegar, because the more you argue with her and demand her to be a certain way, she's going to rebel and she's going to resist. So you have to find a sweeter way to convince her to live this way. I don't think it's in them to do that. They are so toxic for one another. So she couldn't take it in Egypt anymore. It was the relationship was just too contentious. So she came back to America. I thought that was going to be the end of that, honey. Well, no. He is arriving in America. And so I don't know how long ago this was filmed. Obviously, a while back. I don't know, about a year ago, maybe more. But the word on the curb is that he had gotten arrested for putting his hands on Nicole recently. So I don't know what's going on with that. I haven't been keeping up with that story. I don't know if they're still together or not. I don't know. But to watch this couple, I'm like tense. They make me so tense. I feel like a child. I feel like I'm their child. And, you're on pins and needles because, mommy and dad are going to break out into an argument any minute now. And it's going to last all night long. That's how I feel when I watch Mahmoud and Nicole. So she's still striving for her individuality and her self-expression. Mahmoud talks about how he's going to be leaving everything behind in Egypt to come to America and start this new life with Nicole. They are still legally married, so obviously he wants to be with his wife, but he is sad about leaving his family behind. So we see him packing up, saying goodbye to his mom, saying goodbye to his brother, and it is what it is. So knowing how Mahmoud feels about the fact that she's not traditional, he doesn't like how she dresses, he doesn't like how she exposes her skin. It's too much for him. She's going to show up at the airport. I think she was wearing like a midriff, not a midriff, but she was showing like maybe an inch of her belly in the outfit that she wore. It was a top and a skirt, but there was like an inch gap between the top and the skirt where you could see her skin. So I'm like, how your husband is. You know how he is. I'm not saying that she should, fall in line with what her husband demands of her. I'm not saying that at all. But don't you get tired of arguing all the time? For the sake of not arguing, why don't you just put on a damn outfit where it's not going to show all? Why do you want to argue all the time? And I just don't understand and if you want to be your individual self and you don't want to, submit to these rules and regulations of another culture, why don't you find an American man or a man from anywhere in the world who doesn't require that of you? And Mahmoud, if you want a traditional wife so badly, Instead of making this woman who doesn't want to be that way, forcing her into something that she doesn't believe in, that she doesn't want, why don't you get a traditional wife? I don't understand it, but y'all want to be together and y'all want to fight like crazy all day and all night. Oh, Lord, it doesn't make any sense to me. Y'all, I'm getting even more aggravated. I'm getting even more agitated because now I have to talk about Rob and Sophie. I have to talk about Rob and Sophie. We just got done with Rob and Sophie, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't interesting. It wasn't entertaining, but now they're back. It's a continuation of the mess. So Sophie, when we see her, their segment starts off with her. It shows like a trail of clothes that are leading to the bedroom, making you think that somebody had a really wild night. But it's Sophie and her BFF laying in bed together. We know that Sophie is bisexual. So at this point, we don't really know what's going on between her and this girl named Kay. If they're just platonic friends, if it's more than that, friends with benefits, who knows? So she's in bed with her friend Kay, and they're sitting there talking, and they're talking about the fact that Sophie had to get away from Rob, and she went as far as to Austin, Texas. So she left LA to come to Austin where her friend Kay lives because her and Rob are not getting along. I kind of don't buy that because at the reunion, at the 90 Day Fiancé reunion, Rob and Sophie announced that they were living together in Austin, Texas. And of course, it couldn't reveal too much because of this show coming up, right? So they couldn't talk about whether they're both there voluntarily, if one had to chase the other to Texas, and how. I understand they couldn't say too much, but I don't think that she left Rob like that to go live in Austin. I think that they had planned to move to Austin. She was going to move first because I don't know if Rob is working or not, but she was going to move to Austin first, and for whatever reason, he was going to follow her after. I really do not think that they had a big old fight and she packed her bags and moved to Austin away from her husband. I don't think it went down like that, but here we are. So she's talking to her friend Kay about Rob, and they're fighting and his online cheat. If I hear online cheating one more time, I am going to scream. I am going to scream. I really want to tell these people, just get the hell over it. Or, I don't even know. So all this, so Rob is talking to his friends. She's still in bed talking to her friend Kay. They're all talking about this damn online cheating. That's where their relationship took a really deadly turn because he was online cheating. When she was still living in England, when she came to LA, he was still online cheating. So she's giving him chance after chance after chance because he makes promises. Oh, I'm going to stop. Then for whatever reason, he does it again. So they're talking about this online cheating stuff. And then they talk about Rob is telling his friends that he doesn't really know what's going on between Sophie and Kay. He doesn't know if it's completely platonic and innocent or if there's something more going on. His friend was like, oh, well, there's something more. His friend was like, I think there's something more. I don't know why he would say that. I don't know if you know something that we don't know. But his homeboy was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's something going on between your wife and this other woman. Unfortunately, we are reunited with Claire, Sophie's mom. Sophie's mom lives in Mexico. Okay, I'm like, since when? Because on 90 Day Fiancé, I think she was still living in England, but I don't know, y'all. She lives in Mexico now, and she has a boyfriend who lives in Texas. You know, how convenient. So she's in Texas visiting her boyfriend, and she happens also to be visiting her daughter, Sophie. So they're meeting up. Her and her mom are meeting up. Her mom's boyfriend, John, is there. And Claire, her mother, is introducing Sophie to her boyfriend, John. Sophie talks about how happy she is that her mom has a boyfriend because now she can get out of her business and get off her back. So the topic turns to Rob. And Claire tells her boyfriend that she does not like Rob. She calls him Rob the Knob. And the term knob in England is extremely derogatory. So she calls him Rob the Knob. And just painting a really bad negative picture of Rob to her boyfriend. And Claire was really happy when Sophie moved away from Rob. But now Sophie tells her mom that, you know, he's going to be coming to Texas and they're going to talk about it. And she's considering going back to him. Sophie, keep your mom out of your business. Keep your mom out of your business. Because when things are bad, you go running to your mom. I don't know why you don't go running to your friend. I don't know why you have to go running to anybody at all, period. But when you and him start arguing about online cheating, you go running to your mom. You get your mom all riled up because you're crying, you're boo-hooing, he's treating you so bad, you can't trust him. How can he do this to you? Your mom gets all riled up and crazy. She's on the hunt now for Rob. She wants his head on a platter. And then when you and Rob kiss and make up, your mom is still pissed. Your mom is still mad. When y'all are kissing and making up and doing whatever y'all are doing, making it do what it do, your mom isn't involved in that. So she has no idea that you have kissed and made up and now you're all lovey-dovey, you want to be with your husband again. Your mom is still pissed and aggravated because you put her in that position. So she tells her mom, well, Rob's going to be coming out to Texas to see me. So Rob shows up. It starts off, you would think, fairly well. They talk about how they still have butterflies for each other when they see each other for the first time after 2 months of being separated. They talk about how they still make each other nervous when they're around each other. All this, wonderful, cute stuff. Then the arguing commences. It doesn't take long at all. As soon as they sit down, the arguing commences. And it commences because she's always demanding him to apologize. And the way that she demands for him to apologize, I don't agree with. I think if you tell someone, look, you did this particular thing and it hurt me, and that person says, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did that. And I'm sorry that it hurt you. Me, I'm cool with that. But her, she takes it a step further. It's not just, Sophie, I'm sorry. What are you sorry about? What are you sorry about? What are you apologizing for specifically? And so whatever he says, it's never to her satisfaction. So then she gets upset because he did not apologize in the way that she wanted. And we saw this on 90 Day Fiance when they were in the adult toy store shop, where she was upset with him because she didn't like how he said, I'm sorry, Sophie, but she didn't like how he apologized, the way that he apologized and what he said. She didn't like it. She wants him to apologize in a very specific way. She's leading him into a very specific apology to satisfy her. She wants him to say, I'm sorry, I'll do better, I'm not going to mess up anymore. Because her thing is, just apologize. Because that's what I want. Just apologize. So he apologizes. Sophie, I'm sorry. Oh, what are you sorry for? What are you sorry about? Why can't you? And she's upset about how he's apologizing. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why do you want to live like that? You're going to give yourselves ulcers. You're going to increase your blood pressure. You're going to go prematurely gray because you're trying to stress yourself out over things that are not worth it. If you have a problem with this online cheating and you can't stop, leave him. Leave the man. Rob, if you can't stand the fact that she wants you to apologize in a certain way, or leave. Why do y'all stay together to make each other miserable? Life is just way too short for all of that. I don't know the details of their arguing, but it all boiled down to she didn't like how he apologized, and he wasn't going to apologize the way that she wanted to be apologized to. So stupid. Moving on to Ashley and Manuel. So Ashley, when we see their segment, it starts off with her leading a spin class. She's teaching a spin class, and poor Manuel, he's part of her spin class, and he can barely hang on for dear life. So we see the history of how they met. They met in Ecuador 10 years ago, etc., etc. They met 10 years ago. It all started, I think he asked her to dance or something. I think that's how they first met. And through all of this, okay, now she's brought him to America, 10 years of being together. Now they're married. Through all of this, 10 years of a relationship, she has yet to meet his kids. He has 2 teenage boys, and she has yet to meet them. And she doesn't understand why. And he doesn't give her a good enough reason why. He kind of has this thing where his life in Ecuador is separate and apart from his life with Ashley. And Ashley's like, no, we're married. All of me and all of you is together. So your family, your friends, your whatever, it's a part of my life as well. So he keeps on, giving her these excuses of why he's not ready to introduce her to the kids, so on and so forth. Her family thinks it's weird. Her mom and her sister, they keep telling her it's weird that you haven't met his children or any whoever else you haven't met in his family. It's really strange for as long as y'all have been together. The mother suggests hiring a private detective to dig into Manuel's life. I don't know if the mom was serious about this, but it gave me PTSD because it reminded me of Chantel's mother from Chantel and Pedro. It reminded me of Chantel's mother when she wanted to hire a private investigator to investigate Pedro. So I kind of had PTSD when she said that. She asks Manuel yet again, because I think they're at a fair or something, and she's asking him once again, when am I going to meet your kids. And he tells her, well, right now there's too much going on in Ecuador. Too much for a phone call, a FaceTime, anything at all. That's just weird. That's strange to me. That's really, really strange. That's really strange, because it would make me think that, and we all know eventually she's going to meet these children. We know that's going to happen. But it kind of makes it look like, he's hiding her from his family. There's something about her. Either he's ashamed of her, or he knows that this relationship is temporary. I don't know. Ashley's just a means to an end for him. I don't know. So it's like, why get my kids involved if I know that eventually all of this is going to be over? I don't know what's going on with Manuel, but I don't know. Maybe it's a fake storyline. I can't believe I talked for 40 minutes about these people. I claim to have nothing going on, but here I am talking about them for 40 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.